In this video, we are gonna solve a mystery. We will see which airline is paying the best in the industry. Emirates versus US legacy airlines. Are we ready? Let's get started. Hello again. I am Caner. I am with you with another video. Today we are going to talk about again finance. I like this kind of videos and I know that you like this kind of videos, guys. So I take Emirates, but at the same time I say US legacies because US legacies more or less paying the same salary. So when it comes to that, it's kind of standard for US pilots. They're earning more or less same based on 1,000 credit regardless of where they are working. And likewise, Emirates is the top paying company in the Middle East. So today we are gonna compare best of best. There is no winner and there is no loser in this comparison, because if you are either one of these airlines, you hit the jackpot, because you are gonna earn millions of dollars throughout your career. You are extremely lucky. As usual, there's a disclaimer, right? These numbers that I will mention in this video are not reflecting in real life, because in real life conditions there are lots of variation that we cannot forecast. We are talking about next 30 years. We don't even know what's going to happen in the aviation industry next year. Therefore, these are hypothetical numbers. I did my best to reflect you the most current values, but there are lots of things that I cannot forecast, such as what will be the appreciation rates in the stock market for the next 30 years. We can see what happened in the previous 30 years, but I cannot tell anything about the future. What's going to be the pay rises? What will be the accommodation allowance in Emirates? So there are lots of variation. But what I did in this video is I take more or less same values for profit sharing, appreciation values. For that reason, we can be fair. In Emirates, you will get basic salary, flight hours pay, accommodation allowance, schooling allowance, and based on company's financial results, you can get profit sharing. And on top of that, you will get here provident fund. Whatever earn is tax-free because you don't have income tax. Whatever you will earn here will be taxable. You have to pay tax. You can grow your 401k tax-free, tax-deferred, but eventually when you start withdrawing your money, you have to pay your tax. You cannot escape from Uncle Sam. Therefore, there will be lots of tax advantages here, but eventually you have to pay your tax. So whatever you will earn here also will be based on flying hours. So we can estimate 1,000 credit per year on this column to calculate your annual income. So whatever you fly per hour, you will get paid. But if you don't fly, your reason should be backed up by the union for you to get paid in the US side. On the other hand, in this side, you have a fixed basic salary. No matter what you fly or you don't fly, you will get paid your basic salary. In Emirates, I take the data from Emirates career website and I increase them 3% every 3 years, once every 3 years actually. On the other hand, in the US side is more simple because you have an hourly rate. I multiply this hourly rate by 1,000 to calculate the annual salary, because in the US, which is better, you get hourly rate, you don't have any housing allowance, schooling allowance and everything. So you need to pay everything from your pocket. On the other hand, in Emirates, you have housing allowance, you have education allowance, you have basic salary, flight hours, provident fund. Some of them are great, but when it comes to calculating your total compensation, it makes the situation even more complex. For instance, if you are single and living in company accommodation, in that case actually you are wasting your money, because it's a huge house. You would save money by living a one-bedroom apartment and pulling half of your allowance in your pocket. Likewise, if you're a captain and living in company accommodation, actually you are staying more expensive in this accommodation than the first officer, because as a captain you have more allowance than the first officer. And if you compare it, everyone lives in the same villa, exactly the same thing. You actually are losing money compared to a first officer. So if you buy your property in Dubai, you can get paid full allowances, and you can buy yourself a house. This house can appreciate over 30 years period and you can save money. But for the sake of the calculation, I pretend like you will get this benefit as a cash. But don't forget, most pilots are living in company accommodation. Actually, they don't get this money as a cash. Instead, they don't pay rent and utilities. So they're saving money, but the saving rate could be totally different if they had their money in their pocket. The other thing I would like to mention is schooling allowance. A schooling allowance is a great indirect contribution for your out-of-pocket, but don't forget, this is also not coming directly in your pocket. So basically we can consider that Emirates is just providing free schooling for your kids. Therefore, I don't include schooling allowance to a total compensation package. Now I'm referring back to a table that I created, and we will talk about some assumptions and total career value of the Emirates pilot. As you can see, I created a table. This is a hypothetical table that is showing how much you can earn at the end of your career. For the sake of comparison, I created a 30-year career in this table. Likewise, in the US, we will also have 30 years career. In Emirates, there's only wide-body airplanes, so therefore there are two scales, wide-body FO and wide-body captain. As you can see here, after year 6, you will be upgrading to the wide body. I had this as captain position. I made this assumption, and this highlighted columns represents pay rises that you are getting. So based on assumptions that I made, you will get 3% pay rise once every 3 years. Normally, these pay rises can be each year, but sometimes the company doesn't increase the pay rises for over 5-6 years period. So I wanted to be conservative while calculating the total career value, right? So it's same for Emirates and it's same for US legacies. We cannot make the assumption of earning money based on very relaxed approach. It should be very moderate or conservative, so that this is how we need to do it. This is the basic salary, and this is adjusted basic salary, and this is annual basic salary, and this column represents adjusted annual basic salary. In the previous video, I mentioned the total career value of an Emirates pilot. Therefore, you could refer back these columns, what does this mean, and you can always understand from this video. And as you can see, adjusted annual basic salary, your take-home salary, including basic and flight hours based on 85 hours. And these numbers are adjusted 3%. When you see these highlighted yellow areas, you can also see that these numbers are 3% adjusted. Likewise, I adjusted this housing allowance by 3% when you see these highlighted yellow columns here. So total compensations is actually consisting of adjusted annual basic salary plus housing allowance plus profit sharing 10%. I take profit sharing 10% for the Emirates side, but on the other hand, in the US side, I take it 7.5% because historically, I believe Emirates pays more profit sharing than the US carriers. At the very bottom of the table, I summed all these numbers. So you can expect 4,450,000 adjusted annual basic salary plus $2.371 million housing allowance and profit sharing $468,451. Total value can reach $7,289,762, and on top of that you will get retirement. And this line represents the company contribution reaches 15%. Previously, as you can see from the table, company contributes 12% of your basic salary into your Provident Fund A account, and after 10 years it's increased to 15%, and 5% is mandatory contribution that you need to make into your retirement. That's why we have here adjusted annual basic salary, because these numbers represent 5% reduced number from your basic salary. And I take appreciation rate 8%, same for both Emirates and US pilots. And at the end of 30-year career, you can see you will have $3,220,813 US. When you combine this number with the total value, including retirement, you will have more than $10 million. To be more precise, it's going to be 10,510,575 US dollar. This is one of the best paying airlines in the world, no doubt. So therefore, all pilots are trying to go there because you will earn great salary. Let's pause here. If you like the content me and my team are creating, you can consider contributions or membership options through buymeacoffee.com. I'll put the link down below. Your contributions will really help to create more quality content on this channel. Thank you so much. Okay, now it's time to analyze US table. So we talked about Emirates, now we are talking about the US legacy airlines. What I mean by saying US legacy airlines, I include United, Delta, American. They're getting paid the same rate per hour because salary in the US is depending on how many credits you make in a year. If you don't want to fly a lot, you can make like 400, 500 credits per year. Of course, it depends the dynamics of the company and the work rules set by the union and the company. But for the sake of this video, we are gonna make our assumptions like what we have done in Emirates. All right, as we can see here, again, 30-year career starting from 2024 till 2053. And we have some assumptions here. In Emirates, we only had 6 years wide body first officer, then the rest of the career wide body captain. But it is not the same in the US. As we can see here, I made the assumption 3-year narrow body first officer, another 3-year wide body first officer, then 13-year narrow body captain, then 11-year wide body captain position. Each position and seat offers different pay rates. So I take 2024 first year pay rate for the narrow body first officer, and this is like 2027 fourth year wide body first officer rate. Those are the current rate, but these numbers are only for the first contract that we are seeing by the late of 2023. What I mean is we are not reflecting any further contract increases on this scale. In Emirates, we had 3% increase once every 3 years until you retire. And on the other hand here, we only have one-time increase over 3 years. That's it. In fact, if you're lucky, you will see at least 3 more different contracts until you retire in US legacies. So theoretically speaking, your hourly rates will be more than these numbers, but those numbers are not taken into account, unlike Emirates. But again, in Emirates side, I was very conservative. Here also I am very conservative as well. So as we can see, these pay rates are multiplied by 1,000 hours, actually 1,000 credits to get the salary. And in order to have the same growth, what we were doing in Emirates, you were seeing that the company contributes 12%, but then you have to contribute 5% as well. That's why in this chart, I did exactly the same. I adjusted salaries by reducing 5%, and I put this 5% into 401k contributions. And don't forget, you need to pay tax with the adjusted salary, but your contributions for 401k is tax-free. And I added 7.5% profit sharing here based on your salary, based on 1,000 hour credits, and also I reduced the tax. Actually, I needed to reduce tax burden, but I kept it as it is. Retirements are much better in the United States than Emirates, and you can see here 17% of your gross salary for the entire year goes into 401k, and it's gonna be 18 starting from 2026. The green columns are reflecting 18% contribution, and your mandatory 5% contribution goes into total compensation. After year 12, you are maxing out the pay scale, so your salary is no longer increasing because you already capped with the highest salary. Only way for you to get better salary is to upgrade wide body captain position, and as you can see, once you upgrade after 20th year, hourly rate actually jumps from 399 to 498, almost $100 more per hour, and therefore you increase your salary. As you can see here, mandatory 5% contributions. In real life, the more you contribute this account, actually you save more from tax, and this money grows tax-free, and then you can get more money at the end of your career in your retirement. With the 8% appreciation, you can see that a US pilot's total retirement money can reach $9.6 million. And of course, If you want to withdraw this money, you have to pay tax on that. In fact, whatever we see here at the end of the day are taxable, unlike Emirates. Therefore, what I did, I just calculated the profit sharing, and then I just had the adjusted salary here. Total career earning of a US legacy pilot before tax is 12,965,503 US dollars, almost $13 million. But don't forget, these are before tax. A US pilot has to pay tax on these earnings. So we need to come up with a number to be able to have tax rate so that after tax we can compare with Emirates and United States Airlines pilots which one is earning more. To be able to have an exact calculation, we need to know an individual, where is he living, where is he based, what's the earning, what kind of tax burden he or she has. Therefore, it is almost impossible. What I did, I just had a simple 30% tax cut from this number to be able to calculate net tax returns, because there are lots of tax advantages while withdrawing your money from 401k, so you will never reach 30% if you're smart enough. Or alternatively speaking, if you are living in California, on top of this tax income, federal income tax, you need to pay state income tax. I'm living in Texas, we don't have state income tax. Theoretically, I'm making more money than the Californian pilot based on same income level. Don't forget, on top of federal income tax, you need to pay, if applicable, state income tax, you need to pay social security tax, and you need to pay Medicare taxes as well. But roughly, I made 30% deduction from that. This can go significantly up as well, so you can further reduce down this number, maybe 35%, to be able to have more conservative approach. After 30% tax deduction, we can see that the total career value can reach to 15,801,536 US dollar, more than $5 million more than Emirates pilot. Even after tax, US pilots are earning more than that. If we make the tax rate 40%, still I calculated for you, total career earning of a US legacy pilot will be reaching $14.5 million with a 40% effective tax rate. So what I'm trying to say, even if you increase further more than 40%, still US pilots are earning more than Emirates pilots. So this is not important how much tax you are paying at the end of the day. This is important how much you are making after tax. So I'm comparing after tax versus after tax. US legacy pilots are earning much more than Emirates pilots. On top of these values, a US pilot will get social security benefits once they retire. As you can clearly see, the winner is by far US Airlines legacy pilots. Why do you think so? There are a couple of reasons that I would like to mention. The first of all, the pilots in the United States, their retirements are based on their gross earning. So basically, whatever they make, even after new contract, whatever they make plus profit sharing, and then total values of 17% of the total values, that is going to be 18%, will go to retirement. On the other hand, in Emirates, pay scales are adjusted based on allowances. So your basic salary is here, but on top of that, you have accommodation allowance, schooling allowance, and other ones, profit sharing. But your retirement is just based on basic salary. Other allowances are not affecting your retirement. So you have a total compensation of more than $20,000 as a wide-body captain, but you are only pensionable very small amount of this $20,000. So 12% of your basic salary goes into your retirement. Therefore, there is not much time for you to accumulate wealth in your provident fund in Emirates. On the other hand, in the US, whatever you make will go to your retirement. Don't get me wrong, still as an Emirates pilot you can build a really great wealth, but something to mention. What do you think? How many percentage of the company can reach 30 years in Emirates versus how many percentage of the companies in the United States can reach 30 years career? I would say in the Emirates it's less than 5%. I've been there 3.5 years. I flew in Emirates. I've never seen any captain in my career that is in the company more than 30 years. And I ask my friends, people are resigning after 10 to 15 years, and attrition rate per year in Emirates is like 3 to 5%. And these nominal values I'm talking about, if it is more than 5%, it is beyond the normal values. But on the other hand, in the US, once someone joined the company, they stay there. Maybe 95% of the guys, unless health related issues or some disciplinary actions involved, and more than 95% of the entire pilot population stays in the company for more than 30 years or until they retire. Therefore, 95% of the company can make this money once they retire in the United States if they are young enough. So that's the end of the video. Before I go, please don't forget to like my video, subscribe my channel, and hit the bell button to get the notifications. And also don't forget to share the videos with your friends, alright? Help me to grow my channel. See you in the another video. Bye bye.